Hi everyone, it's Lisa Mears. Thank you for joining me. In today's video, I'm going to be making two cards using the brand new Flower Fields stamp set from Scrapbookcom. This stamp set is a 6 by 8 inch build and layer stamp set, which means that you can build and layer your flower stamps any way of your choosing using any color inks. There are a total of 46 stamps in this set, so there are endless possibilities of different style flower combinations that you can create on your cards. There are outline stamps, which you would stamp in a darker ink color, and there are solid stamps, which you can then stamp in a lighter ink color to create a beautiful flower. So for my first card, I'm going to start out with the nested square dies, and I'm going to take the smallest die and die cut 4 squares out of white cardstock. I will also take the second largest square die and die cut a piece of pink cardstock. That pink cardstock is from the Scrapbookcom Sherbet Smooth Cardstock Paper Pad. Next, I'm going to take out my MISTI because I'm ready to do some stamping. So I put in my MISTI a piece of scrap paper. This is just a piece of printer paper, and I'm going to add the 4 squares to this printer paper. I'm just putting a little bit of adhesive on the back to keep them stuck down to that printer paper because I'm ready to stamp on them. You can start stamping with either the outline stem or the solid flower petal shape. Either one is fine, however, for this card, I'm starting with the solid petal stamps. So I'm just adding all of the solids to all 4 of those squares, and then I'm going to ink them up with some of my Scrapbookcom inks. Each one of the flowers is going to be a different color. The orange color is the Orange Spice ink. I'm also using the Mermaid ink to stamp the next flower. For the next flower, I'm using the Candy Shop Pink ink. And then for the last flower, I'll be using the Rubber Ducky ink. Next, I'm going to line up the outline, which this is actually all of the stems for these flowers. So I'm going to line those up, and I'm going to use the Scrapbookcom Pine ink to stamp them out. And for all 4 of my flowers, I'm going to be using the same color green ink. Each one of my stems is going to be a different one. There are a total of 12 different style stems that you can choose from for this stamp set. So there are lots of different possibilities that you can choose from to create different kinds of flowers. Next, I'm going to glue each one of those squares onto the larger pink square that I initially die cut out. I'm going to use a piece of the pattern paper from the matching Sherbet pattern paper pad, and that's the matching paper pad to the solid paper pad. I chose to use this floral print, which I cut to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and I'm going to add that to a piece of solid pink cardstock that's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So the solid layer underneath the flower layer is the same color as the square that I die cut out. Next, I'm going to use this Thanks die. This is the Scrapbookcom block word die set. And I cut the thanks from white cardstock as well as the same pink cardstock. So I have 2 die cuts here. And I'm going to use the outline from the pink die cut piece, and I'm going to use the white letters from the white die cut piece to create my sentiment. So you can see that when you die cut that word thanks, it just creates the outline of that word. You can actually see the pattern paper through that. But now I'm just going to piece in all of the white die cut pieces, and that will make it easier to read that sentiment. Once I finish with the sentiment, I will then go ahead and add that entire layer to an A2 size card base. My A2 size card base measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches, and that completes this card. For my next card, in addition to the nested heart dies, I'm also going to be using the nested scallop heart dies. So I'm going to use both of these together. I'm going to take the largest heart die from the nested hearts, And I'll go ahead and add that to a piece of printer paper here in my Misty. The reason I'm putting that printer paper down is because these stamps are actually going off of my die cut pieces and I didn't want to get ink on the Misty. So now I'm going to line up the stems where I want those stems to be on that heart die cut piece. I'm going to hold the heart die cut down with the magnets, and then I'm going to ink up the stems with the Lagoon Blue Scrapbookcom ink. Next, I'm going to stamp down the solid stamps, and I'm going to do each one individually because they're going to be different colors. So I'm going to be using the daffodil ink, that was for the round flower. The one to the left of that is the Havana red, which is the darker red. This one here is going to be the pink lemonade, which is a lighter red. Now I'm adding the next flower stamp and I'm going to be using the daffodil again. And then this one here on the right, I'm adding the Havana red. I'm going to add a few more smaller stems in between these larger flowers. So I'm just positioning some of those smaller stems where I want them and then inking them up with the same Lagoon Blue ink. I wanted these flowers to have varying lengths, so you can see I have some of the taller flowers there and then some of the smaller ones towards the bottom. Next, I'm going to use some of these smaller heart stamps. And there's also some smaller circle stamps, and I am going to add flowers to these smaller stems. So here I'm adding some hearts in the Havana red color to a few of the smaller stems. And then I'm going to take one of the circle stamps, and there are so many different ones to choose from, but I'm just going to use the same one here. And I'm going to add some of the pink lemonade ink to the other stems that you see on this set. Next, I'm going to take another shaped heart and add some of the daffodil ink. So I'm adding some pink hearts amongst some of those yellow hearts. I just love how easy it is to create a beautiful floral background. So now I'm going to be using the Playful pattern paper and the matching cardstock, and I just want to show you where I got my ink color inspiration from. All of the inks that I chose to use on that stamp set matched some of the papers in this paper pad. So I actually picked my paper first and then I chose the inks to match it. So with the scalloped heart dies, I'm going to take the largest scalloped heart and die cut a piece of the red cardstock. And I'm going to take a piece of the Playful pattern paper. I'm going to use one of the pages that has the hearts, the red hearts on it. And then I'm also going to take another piece. I'm going to use one of the red and white stripes. I'm also going to be bringing in the modern lowercase alphabet dies. This die set comes with lowercase and uppercase dies, but I'm just going to use the lowercase ones. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting my card together. So I'm going to add the heart shape with the stamped flowers to the red scalloped heart. And then I'm going to add the heart pattern paper to the red and white striped paper. So the heart pattern paper is 4 by 5 1/4. The red and white striped paper is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And then I will add the heart on top of that. I die cut the alphabet letters that spell the word love, and I also die cut a word you, and the word you is from the Scrapbookcom Thinking of You word die. So I'm going to go ahead and add all of those die cut pieces to form my sentiment. Next, I'm going to add this entire layer to an A2 size white card base that measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches, and that will complete this card. So here are the two cards I created with the Flower Fields stamp set from Scrapbook.com. As always, all product links will be in the description box below and on my blog at lisamearsdesigns.com. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe for more card making tutorials. Thanks for watching and have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.